hats, guys, because this is going to be one crazy ride. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're diving into the rise of a shopping phenomenon that's absolutely shattering the e-commerce world. Picture this. What if shopping like a billionaire wasn't just a dream, but a reality? I'm talking about Temu, the e-commerce platform that's been making waves by offering you designer knockoffs, a smartwatch for $5, and even jumbo-sized earbuds for your big-eared cousin. Yes, really. All at prices so low, they seem too good to be true. Before Temu took the scene, the e-commerce world was all about Amazon, eBay, and Alibaba. Giants that focused on speed, selection, and convenience. But Temu came in and redefined everything, flooding the market with jaw-dropping prices and products you didn't even know you needed. It's a game changer. So what's the secret? Temu is a subsidiary of PDD Holdings, a Chinese conglomerate that leveraged its parent company's massive supply chain expertise to drop products at prices that make you question reality. They've expanded to 50 countries in record time and even made a huge splash with Super Bowl ads in 2023, taking their rise to a whole new level. From viral TikTok unboxing videos to influencer hauls, Temu's got everyone talking. But behind all that glitz and glam, there's a darker side that raises some serious questions about ethics, sustainability, and the hidden costs of consumerism. This is the wild tale of how Temu went from zero to hero, the secrets behind its business model, and the fierce debates it sparked along the way. So grab your popcorn because we're about to dive deep. Let's get into it. The rise of Temu, a Super Bowl ad that changed everything. Now you know a company is truly serious about its game when they're willing to throw down big money to get noticed, right? Well, Temu did just that, and they did it in a way that no one saw coming. In 2023, they made their mark with six 30-second commercials during the biggest sporting event of the year, the Super Bowl. And guess what? That wasn't pocket change. Each of those 30-second spots cost around $7 million. $7 million for just 30 seconds of screen time. That's not just about buying attention. That's about making a statement. But here's where it gets interesting. Temu wasn't just trying to get a few eyeballs on their brand. No. This was about launching an empire. By securing Super Bowl ads, they catapulted themselves from being a relatively unknown player in the e-commerce space to a household name almost overnight. This was a strategic move that positioned them in front of millions of viewers, not just in the US, but around the world, leaving a lasting impression in the minds of consumers. And the results? They were huge. After the Super Bowl, Temu's app saw an explosion in downloads, massive numbers, like nothing anyone had seen before. Within just a year of this big push, Temu wasn't just another app on your phone, it became the most downloaded app in the US in late 2022. Think about it. A newcomer that had barely made a dent in the market was now at the top of the App Store charts, surpassing established giants like Amazon and eBay. Behind this meteoric rise was Temu's parent company, Pinduoduo Holdings, who didn't just aim to get loud, they aimed to be disruptive. Every single ad, every single campaign was carefully designed to shake things up. And shake things up they did. With massive global reach and targeted ads designed to appeal to a broad audience across the globe, Temu wasn't just advertising a shopping platform, they were advertising a movement. It wasn't just about selling products, it was about capturing attention, creating curiosity, and making sure they stuck in your mind. And now, with the Temu app dominating not just the US market, but expanding rapidly across countries around the world, it's clear that this wasn't just a fluke. It was the start of something huge. The Super Bowl was just the beginning, and Temu had big plans for the future. Aggressive marketing and global expansion. Temu didn't just stop at the US market and call it a day. No, they had bigger plans from the start. After making waves in the States, they quickly expanded their reach to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and even Europe, rapidly establishing themselves as a global player. Within just a few months of launching, Temu set its sights on becoming the undisputed leader in online shopping, aggressively pursuing dominance across international markets. And boy, did they make it happen. Their expansion strategy was nothing short of impressive. They didn't just dip their toes into new markets, they dove in headfirst. With the power of a massive budget and the right timing, Temu made sure the world knew who they were. From the US to Europe, Temu flooded the market with ads, collaborations, and influencer endorsements, ensuring that every corner of the globe had Temu on their radar. Their global campaign was so successful that, within months of its launch, the Temu app became one of the most downloaded e-commerce apps, shattering records left and right. But here's where it gets interesting. Their overwhelming success wasn't just because of their aggressive marketing tactics. While the app's growth was undeniable, it didn't take long for people to start questioning how they were able to offer products at such ridiculously low prices. And we're not talking about a few bucks off a standard item. We're talking prices so low that they seem almost impossible. How could they sell a smartwatch for $5? How are they able to offer high-quality tech gadgets, clothes, and home goods for a fraction of what you'd expect to pay? It's easy to get swept up in the excitement of snagging a bargain, but something doesn't quite add up. This is where Temu's business model comes into play, and it raises some eyebrows. How can a company flood the market with so many cheap products and still manage to thrive? Well, let's break it down. How does Temu do it? The shocking truth behind those insane prices. All right, so we've established that Temu offers mind-blowingly cheap products, but how exactly do they pull it off? The secret lies in their business model, one that completely flips traditional e-commerce on its head. Unlike major retailers that rely on warehouses, third-party sellers, and logistics chains that add layers of costs, Temu cuts out the middleman entirely. They source products straight from manufacturers in China and ship them directly to consumers. No brand name markups, no expensive advertising overhead, except for the massive Super Bowl ad, of course. Just pure, unfiltered, factory-to-doorstep pricing. Sounds genius, right? Well, here's where things start to get a little messy. While consumers get to enjoy rock-bottom prices, the real cost of these deals is often hidden from view. Manufacturers who sell through Temu are under immense pressure to offer their products at shockingly low prices, so low that many of them barely make a profit, if at all. This kind of aggressive pricing strategy forces factories to cut corners wherever they can, which often translates to lower wages, tougher working conditions, and even potential violations of labor laws. And let's not forget the environmental impact. With Temu's ultra-cheap, mass-produced items flooding global markets, we're talking about a massive increase in waste. Many of these products aren't designed to last. Think thin plastic, poorly stitched clothing, and electronics that break within weeks. When you buy a $3 gadget that stops working in days, where does it go? Straight to the landfill. The cycle of overconsumption and waste is real, and Temu is at the center of it. Then there's the quality issue. Ever seen a viral Temu unboxing where someone gets a dress 5 sizes smaller than expected? Or an item that looks nothing like the pictures? Yeah, that's pretty common. The platform operates with minimal product quality control, meaning what you see online isn't always what you get. And with return policies that are often tricky and expensive for customers outside of China, many people just accept their losses rather than go through the hassle of sending something back. So is it really worth it? At first glance, it seems like you're getting a steal. Designer-looking handbags for $10, electronics for less than the price of a coffee, and trendy clothes for next to nothing. But when you factor in the ethical concerns, the questionable product quality, and the environmental impact, you have to ask yourself, is Temu really the shopping paradise it claims to be? You get what you pay for? Or do you? The price of cheap. What's really behind those low prices? Let's be real. When you scroll through Temu, those insanely cheap prices almost feel like a glitch in the system. A smartwatch for $5? A trendy handbag for less than a cup of coffee? It sounds like a dream, but in reality, it's a carefully crafted strategy that comes at a cost. And no, we're not just talking about the money you spend. Temu's business model is built on one shocking principle: selling products at a loss to dominate the market. Yep, you heard that right. They're deliberately losing money on each sale just to reel in as many customers as possible. This aggressive pricing strategy isn't new. It's the same playbook Amazon used in its early days when it sold books at a loss to become the go-to marketplace for everything. But instead of books, Temu is flooding the market with ultra-cheap electronics, trendy clothes, household gadgets, and even the most random knickknacks you never knew you needed. But here's where things get messy. In order to keep those rock-bottom prices, vendors on Temu are forced to sell their products for mere pennies. Some sellers have even reported making little to no profit at all, just for the chance to break into the competitive US market. And while that might sound like their problem, it has a ripple effect that affects everyone involved, from the factories producing these goods to the consumers buying them. Let's talk about the real cost. Workers in factories that supply Temu products are often underpaid and work in poor conditions, all so the company can keep churning out dirt-cheap goods. Then there's the environmental impact. Mass production of low-quality disposable items means more waste, more pollution, and a cycle of overconsumption that's anything but sustainable. And here's the kicker. While consumers think they're getting a steal, the reality is that these products often break, malfunction, or wear out quickly, leading people to spend more money in the long run replacing them. So while Temu promises you can shop like a billionaire, the real question is, who's actually paying the price? Temu's impact on local businesses. Temu's aggressive pricing strategy isn't just a win for bargain hunters, it's a serious threat to local businesses that simply can't compete with the platform's shockingly low prices. While major e-commerce players like Amazon and eBay have always put pressure on small retailers, Temu takes it to a whole new level by offering products at prices that seem almost unreal. This isn't just competition, it's an all-out pricing war, and smaller businesses are struggling to survive. One of the biggest challenges for local retailers is that Temu doesn't rely on short-term profits to stay afloat. Backed by PDD Holdings, the company has the financial power to operate at a loss for years, just to dominate the market. This means they can undercut prices to a level where small businesses have no chance of keeping up. Imagine running a shop where you carefully source quality products, set fair prices, and then suddenly an online giant comes in selling near-identical items for a fraction of the cost. Customers naturally flock to the cheaper option, leaving independent sellers struggling to make ends meet. But the issue goes beyond just pricing. Temu has also been caught engaging in some seriously shady tactics. Many small business owners have reported that their product photos and descriptions were stolen directly from their listings and used on Temu without permission. This means that hardworking sellers who put time and effort into marketing their products suddenly find their content copied and used to promote the very platform that's pushing them out of business. This kind of blatant intellectual property theft has sparked outrage among independent sellers and business advocates, who argue that Temu is not just creating unfair competition, it's actively exploiting others' work for its own gain. And because the platform is so massive, it's incredibly difficult for small business owners to fight back. Even if they report the stolen content, by the time any action is taken, the damage is already done. All of this raises serious ethical concerns about Temu's business practices. While customers may love the ultra-low prices, the real cost is being paid by local businesses that are being squeezed out of the market. The question is, at what point does convenience and affordability come at too high a price? The environmental and human costs. One of the biggest red flags about Temu is the massive environmental impact of its business model. With ultra-low prices and constant promotions, the platform encourages impulsive shopping like never before. Consumers are buying more and more. But because many of these products are cheaply made, they don't last long. A trendy sweater that falls apart after a couple of washes, a gadget that stops working in a week, or a pair of shoes that barely survive a few outings? These products quickly become trash. And where do they end up? In overflowing landfills, adding to the already severe global waste crisis. The problem doesn't stop there. The production and shipping of these ultra-cheap goods come with a massive carbon footprint. Factories working around the clock to produce endless waves of low-cost items consume enormous amounts of energy, often relying on fossil fuels. Then there's the transportation. Temu's supply chain spans across continents, meaning these products travel thousands of miles before reaching your doorstep. The result? More greenhouse gas emissions, more pollution, and an even greater strain on the environment. But the ethical concerns surrounding Temu go beyond waste and pollution. Reports have surfaced linking the company's suppliers to serious human rights violations, particularly the exploitation of workers. Investigations have suggested that some of the factories producing goods for Temu are connected to forced labor, including the oppression of Uyghur Muslims in China's Xinjiang region. This isn't just speculation. Several reports have raised alarms about the involvement of suppliers in unethical labor practices, where workers face harsh conditions, little to no pay, and zero freedom. It's a harsh reality that many shoppers don't think about when adding cheap items to their cart. The question is, do those bargain prices come at a much higher cost than we realize? And as Temu continues to grow, the pressure is on for consumers to decide whether saving a few dollars is worth contributing to these global issues. Is Temu the future of shopping? As we move further into the digital age, platforms like Temu are redefining what consumers expect from online shopping. Cheap prices, endless product choices, and lightning-fast convenience have become the new normal. With just a few taps, you can order anything from trendy fashion pieces to high-tech gadgets, all for prices so low they seem almost impossible. And let's be real, who doesn't love a good deal? But here's the thing, those unbelievably low prices don't just appear out of thin air. Every dollar saved by the consumer has to be accounted for somewhere else in the system, and that's where things get complicated. Temu's entire business model relies on a high-volume, low-margin approach, meaning they sell massive amounts of products at razor-thin profits. But how do they make this work? By leveraging ultra-cheap labor, cutting corners on quality, and working with manufacturers that often have little to no transparency about their supply chains. The problem is, the cost of these bargain deals isn't just measured in dollars. It's measured in environmental impact, ethical concerns, and the exploitation of workers. Factories producing these goods often operate under harsh conditions, with low wages and long hours. Meanwhile, the flood of low-cost, disposable products contributes to massive waste, fueling the cycle of fast consumerism that's taking a serious toll on the planet. So while Temu may seem like the ultimate solution for getting trendy products at unbeatable prices, we have to ask ourselves, what are we really paying for? Are we willing to turn a blind eye to the ethical dilemmas and environmental consequences just to save a few bucks? And if ultra-cheap shopping becomes the future, what does that mean for the quality of the products we buy, the businesses that struggle to compete, and the world we live in? At the end of the day, Temu represents more than just an online shopping trend. It's a glimpse into the future of e-commerce. But whether that future is a dream or a nightmare, that's something we all need to think about. The bigger picture, what Temu's success really means. At the end of the day, Temu's explosive success isn't just about cheap products, it's a reflection of the world we live in today. We're in an era where instant gratification is king, where getting the absolute lowest price has become more important than how something is made, who made it, or what happens after we throw it away. The rise of Temu shows just how much we, as consumers, crave affordability and convenience, even if it comes at a hidden cost. But here's the thing, every purchase we make is part of a bigger system. When we chase after impossibly low prices, we're also supporting the business practices that make them possible. The labor behind the products, the environmental impact of mass production and shipping, the growing piles of waste from fast disposable goods, all of this is the true cost of shopping like a billionaire on a budget. It's a cycle of overproduction and overconsumption, and companies like Temu have mastered how to keep us hooked. So what's the final verdict on Temu? Well, that's up to you. There's no denying that it's tempting. The deals are flashy, the products are fun, and the prices are hard to resist. But before you hit that buy now button, ask yourself, is the best deal really the cheapest one? Are we saving money in the short term while paying a much bigger price in the long run? That's a wrap for today's deep dive. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel and keeps us bringing you more content like this. And if you've ever shopped on Temu, I want to hear your thoughts. Did you score an amazing deal, or did you end up regretting it? Drop your experiences in the comments below. Stay tuned, because in the next video, we're diving into another mind-blowing story from the world of business and tech. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. See you there.